Well, we're going live then. I literally clicked on it as you joined. Welcome to everyone that immediately joined. I'm sure there were hundreds of people waiting for us. I literally clicked go live as you jumped in. You are fashionably. How's it going?
I am I am exactly on time. If we are going live at 8:30 and it is 8:30 and we are going live, I believe we are on time, but check my math there.
No, you're on time. You're on time. I was actually just messing
I
with
f-
Underdog because it was saying it can't detect my location again. So that's fun.
that is fun. That's always fun.
Uh,
What are we looking at in the lobbies?
I don't know. I
Okay.
can't join.
I
I will
wasn't
try on
sure
my
if you
phone.
had. Okay.
No, that's
Okay.
what I was just doing to see
Um
about the lobbies. What's going on? How was your night going? Why are you so low? Should I lower myself?
I don't know. It's
Okay.
my camera thing. It doesn't matter. I
No,
think this is fine.
yeah.
You don't
Where
really
is
need to see
this?
like whatever. Um Yeah. Hey, everyone. Welcome. We will be drafting some best puck teams. The best puck classic. I personally don't really want to join the $3 contest. If people want to
Okay.
draft it and I can just watch, like that's cool. But
Just
frankly,
join them both. Join them both.
I
We're waiting
don't enjoy
on
drafting. I don't enjoy
so,
drafting enough to do that, honestly. Like
you are
150
coward.
sounds impossible. And I love hockey, but like drafting is just not fun. Like, I gotta say, it's not for me. Um, like I'm much more salary, like the real DFS is just my bread and butter. It's what I enjoy. So like I can't really get jazzed up to draft 20 more times to spend 45 minutes at a time. Like, no, that's I'll do other things. But uh yeah, no, do check it out though, DJ. I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
can screen share and show the contest, but that's something that's really cool. It's a really great on ramp, I think, for people who are curious as to what the experience is like, but don't really want to draft a $15 team against DJ and me and all the other people that join these streams. Seems like lobbies are filling quicker. That's to be expected. It's the first day of the contest. But when we draft 12 lobbies over like what 5 hours it's been posted, maybe a few more hours than that, that's incredible. Like that's better, I think, than even day one of the Best Puck Classic. So it does show sort of what the appetite is for these sorts of lower stakes contests, and hopefully that interest keeps up as the gens get their 20 max and can no longer join it.
Nothing else for the NBA yet, as hockey is flying off the shelves, filling at a similar rate. Of course, the NBA is much bigger, but this penalty box is moving quickly. I joined both lobbies. I'm going to be drafting both at the same
Yeah,
time. If Matt doesn't want to join both, he doesn't have to. But I don't really think. Yeah, I mean, I didn't look through it actually all that thoroughly, but I believe it was exactly the same. Yeah,
no.
everything was exact.
Mm,
No,
what do you mean? No. The
well,
the scoring the scoring is the
the
same. The
scoring,
advancement, the
the
finals, that's
advancement
all
was different.
different. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and the prizes and stuff. So well, I guess what I was getting to is I don't think there's all that much to worry about when it comes to like strategy comparatively. It's 20 max, so like I don't think that really means anything. I maybe you could consider like you only have 20 shots, so you can't spread your exposures as much. So take your guys maybe a little bit more. Um, I don't know. Any thoughts on that in general?
Yeah, the 20 max aspect I don't really think matters a ton. Obviously, it makes it so that if you're drafting right now, you're not going to be able to draft in October. Who knows how long this contest lasts? Obviously, it could fill, by early September. This won't really matter. But it is worth noting that we'll have a lot more information come, honestly, like a month from now, is when camps will start opening, and so we'll be able to be more certain on things like goalie splits and where top prospects are slotting in at least to start the season. That sort of thing I think does matter, especially for me.
Mhm.
I I'm not as, I guess, ingrained to like. I would say DJ has a pretty good sense of whether players will go up or down, like just based on not vibe, but like just based on whether their ADP will, be appropriately priced or not. Whereas I'm more just like, give me my guys. I don't know where they're going. I don't really know how these donkeys are thinking about it. Um, and so that to me is sort of my preferred time to draft. It bears itself out in some of the data I was looking at. I went over it last week, where, like I want to say like DJ had 6 teams in the final, and 5 of them were drafted in the first like 2 or 3 weeks of the contest last year. So like, you know, that's just something that I think you need to know yourself and know what's your preference. I am not in the lobby because my thing errored out. My
Yep.
location services.
That's what mine was doing. So I joined on my phone and it works fine. Okay. So yeah, I didn't even see that till you said it. I did take a peek when it first came. I mean, it truly one of the worst possible timings. I was like, did not have enough time to get into the first lobby before I had to leave work. So had no chance. But so I didn't even look at the advancement rates. I only did one team so far. But yeah, this is kind of the most
Yeah,
important.
it's
Different.
not super different. I like when I so to for the audio listeners or for people not paying close attention to DJ Screen Share, this contest is you draft in pods of 12, the same thing as Best Puck Classic. The top 3 will advance out of the regular season. It's the same regular season, the same barriers and whatnot schedule wise. But the top 3 will advance instead of the top 2. That's an extra spot to get through. It's also top 3 advance in the next round. It's 3 out of 10. Yeah,
Yep.
3 out of 10
Very tough.
in round 2. We've pretty consistently over time been on top 2 advance in the playoffs. I'm willing to bet that could make a slight difference. Just sort of spitballing. My sense is that stacking will be slightly more rewarded because you don't need those high end outcomes in the regular season. So having them condensed, you don't need as high of outcomes in the regular season to make it out. So once you make it out, those extra stacks you have to sort of capture additional upside, to sort of just push you through a week, I think that could be of use. And obviously that carries through to round 3, where it's 2 of 9 advance to the final and then a 120 person final. That's where I think we'll see that because there's just more teams filtering through, we'll have less condensed ownership at the top, and sort of these, lower owned, relatively speaking, stacks will hold slightly more power. I don't think that really changes how you're approaching these drafts. I imagine they'll be a huge amount softer. DJ, I don't know if you had a report from your first draft, but it seemed like there were very few drafters, that were known to you.
No, yeah, I did actually mention here. You know what? I mean, what does it matter? Let's go to my one completed team. Why not? We got a little time here. I'll just kind of run through it. The board. So yeah, I mean, keep it strict. I've never heard of them. I apologize in advance. Texans 2022. This is a name I've heard of, the real fantasy Jim Thorpe. I don't know if I've seen him much in the NHL streets, but
Yeah.
I definitely have seen him around a lot. Then it's a badge bro. So, don't know Hailstorm, probably. Big Mo. Again, this one kind of, I mean, again, I feel like the red badge just makes you think maybe I know, but I don't know. I have a Newmies. I mean, I'm not sure if he's in here tonight with us, but he's drafted a bunch of them. Tickle my DGen. A little weird, but sure. I only really knew me. Other than that, like
Yeah.
maybe, but that's it. Some of the constructions were odd to say the least. Texans here went with Quinn Hughes, Victor Hedman, Jake Sanderson, Brandon Montour, Gustav Forsling, and Shea Theodore to round out a 6 defenseman core with only 2 centers, which was odd, but Kadri and Matthews. I thought that honestly, you look at this team off the jump, and I thought this team was, I mean, while taking Demko a little early, I thought like actually was building something pretty cool. And it just went off the rails entirely. But like a lot of really interesting teams. Let me just make sure. I'm sure they're not started yet, right? No, waiting on 2, waiting on 4. So I'll kind of jump back and forth between the 2. But like you'll see my kind of color coding here of my 3-7-3-3 comparatively to others. Just not everyone has the same amount of each color. My team ended up being
Yep.
a I got the 101, of course, because I'm an influencer and that's how things work. I got McDavid, Bo Horvat. I went Mason McTavish with the last pick. I'll have more on that coming later this week. I could spoil a little bit of it, but whatever. Hyman did slip to me at the turn, so I just did it. I just did the Hyman, Kyle Connor at the turn. I honestly was like, I'll take Ovi, I'll take Marner, I'll take whoever. They all slipped. There's a lot of people drafting their guys and not the best guys. Like, I don't really know what else to say. Like the goalie onslaught was insane here. Like, and like it kind of hurt me in the long run, as I'll get to. Anyways, I took Jesper Bratt, Matt Barzal, Jake DeBrus, Tyler Bertuzzi, Kirill Marchenko, mainly because I already took Berensky. I thought, why not take it as my last guy? Bet on someone like that for a change. Noah Hannafin, Seth Jones, and my goalies were a bit weaker, but again, I didn't take my first goalie till 72 and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Then Joseph Wool and Darcy Kemper. I just had to close it out as soon as possible because I was pretty far behind. It's a good team. It's a fun team. It's nothing too crazy. But you'll definitely see there's some weird stuff in here. And if you have $3 to spare, I just suggest giving it a go. The centers don't slip. It was probably the biggest thing. Like you'll just see how much pro is, kind of just all throughout these first rounds comparatively to some of the sharper stream drafts. So I really had a good time drafting it.
Yeah, that's that all sounds fun and good.
Thoughts?
We need 3 for the best puck. Thoughts on what? Your team? A good job. You drafted a 3-7-3-3, and it makes sense. You did sort of touch on the goalie avalanche. I don't know if you wanted to potentially go over the question we got. Okay, wasn't sure if you had that pulled up.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah, we got a couple questions. I mean, the questions we'll talk about goalies first is like when you get hit by the goalie avalanche, what do you do? And I did exactly what I did. I panicked. I took Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Joseph Wool back to back above ADP. Like you got to get out of it. You have to escape. Like if you're in the 6th round and you don't have a goalie, and no one's gonna fall to you, you need to just pull the chute. Take the guys.
Yeah, and I will say, well, our draft started, by the way, best puck draft.
Oh.
And we are not drafting back to back. It is incredible. It's a miracle. Yeah, absolute shocking stuff.
You're 9, okay.
So what I was so about the goalies. I think that the rule number 1 of, getting out of the goalie avalanche, I think is rather similar to the, I don't have the analysis for this, but there was a really good best ball data bowl submission last year about how to avoid the wide receiver avalanche, or like whether you should steer into it or like avoid it entirely. And the analysis done in that, rendition of the NFL contest, of course, was that you really can't avoid it. Or else, you're just kind of getting pummeled. Like you're just not making up enough at the other positions to sort of make it worth your while as far as getting that value is concerned. So I think once you're caught in the goalie avalanche, you're kind of screwed. From there, you just need to draft the best team possible. I will say that Count MC, one of the sharpest drafters in the lobby, I don't think too many people here will be mad at me for stating such a fact. He is pretty adamant that these late goalies are rather powerful. He pointed to Logan Thompson last year as a prime example of that, as the goalie you simply needed to have. By the way, I did not have him on my team that finished in 3rd, despite him putting up like 74 points last year and absolutely carrying, I think, the top 2 teams. I had him in week 1 of the fantasy finals. I certainly looked at the data and I just don't see much that is telling me that I should not be getting my goalies, getting them, guaranteed to have, a good starting goalie and then moving on. But there are different viewpoints out there that I certainly will respect. And of course, if they want to let me get my 3 goalies through round 11, I'm happy to do so. But yeah, so really my suggestion is to get out of it as soon as possible. But know that there are some goalies that will go late in drafts, particularly as we get closer to the start of the season. think of San Jose, Columbus, like those situations, if they get sorted out, you might know a little bit more with
Yeah.
certainty, who those goalies can be late in drafts to get you out of the Avalanche. But don't just take
Yeah.
two and say that's enough because the data seems really, really shitty in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So definitely agree with everything you just said. And I do think it's like kind of like there's two stories to this goalie avalanche. Story one is when you get into my situation where I kept getting value and kind of like undeniable, a connection to like Hyman McDavid. While I'm not as high on McDavid, I'm on Hyman as I am Marner, really. I'm just going to take that when I can get it once in a while. And in that contest, it could be more powerful. You start to kind of, and you could cannonball into a situation where Ukko Pekka is your first goalie, which is probably bad most of the time. That situation is much different than when you take two goalies at a decently early rate. Let's just say that you take one of the clear elite top, 5 or 6, and then you get one sort of in the middle range. And then when you're trying to get that third goalie you feel confident in, you just can't get them. Those are kind of two different avalanches. I think Avalanche 1 is much worse because, as you're alluding to, I think as Avalanche 2 is not only survivable, but you could really potentially get yourself a guy that comes in at much lower ownership in the playoffs and in the finals, that if they could get there later could be better off because like they're not helping you advance maybe as much, but could come in when you need it most in the playoffs. So like just kind of different total scenarios that like are both equally important to avoid. So I guess with that being said, number one, I think we kind of went over it. Like once you get behind, and again, it's okay to get behind, and it's okay to try to figure it out and hope for the best, and like, but like you got to do it.
Show the draft board.
Okay.
Or I guess between. I think you could also. Do you have two screens going?
I could change between anything.
Well, I think you have two screens going. Move the draft board window to a screen and share that, and then you can keep your other screen handy, like for you to if you have the two screens going. So yeah, I mean you can make your pick first, but I think that would work.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go Reinhardt here. See what happens. Oh, all right. You want me to do this? This didn't work. Wait, what? Why is it doing that? Now it's nothing, right?
Yeah, now it's a white screen.
Take two. Okay.
Yeah, and so on your other screen, you can do your queue and draft and everything, right?
Well, yeah, I can do anything I
Yeah,
want. In reality,
yeah.
you can't stop me. Unless if it tweaks out on me, and then I can't. Okay, nope, it's working. It
I
just
don't.
like we're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
If you
Oh, I
if you
hate this
zoom,
spot.
yeah, you can draft. So it looks like if you zoom out on one screen, it zooms out on what you're sharing. So that's probably a tough experience.
It's not a big deal. I just can't keep the stream up to view it at the same time without. Well, I can. It's
I
not going to
mean,
be perfect, but it's fine.
I'm also happy to screen share
No,
if
no,
it's
no, no, no.
bothering you, because
It's not.
I can use my iPad as like a I don't know,
It's
for me
not.
to
Let's
draft
get
on or
back. Let's
something.
get back on track to
Okay.
what I was saying. What I was saying before getting rudely interrupted is we went over the first scenario. But the second scenario I think is worth discussing of when you kind of like, again, it's more like the third goalie scenario because again, like Logan Thompson is like a good example of a guy that like was going late in drafts most of the time last year, if I recall correctly, but I don't think was even 100%. So definitely a situation where you're getting that third goalie in. What would go into that decision? Do you think it's better to buy on a team that's maybe like a really, really good team, like a Carolina with a Freddie Anderson type of guy? Is it better to really, instead of saying a good team, be like ultra specific with a team and say like, well, this team starts their one goalie a lot, like, so if that goalie gets hurt, get a backup type of situation where you're like, more of like a Jonathan Quick, for example, right? Or is it to say, nope, I'm actually going to go with whatever goalie I think is starting in a really bad team, like, Mackenzie Blackwood or Dan Vladar? Like, what angle do you think is the best when you have two goalies and one of them hopefully is pretty good at that point? Because if it's not, that means, like we already said, you already failed, right? Like, if you didn't get one of these elite goalies and hopefully a second one that's at least usable, then there's no way you're in this vacuum of drafting the third goalie because you already had to pull the shoe. You see what I mean?
Yeah, my lean is to go away from ambiguous situations as much as possible. So I guess in the scenario you constructed originally, I would much prefer the bad team with a more entrenched starter. Now, of course, that's viewer discretion, because if it's 60-40 and the good team is 53-47, then that, use your own judgment there. But I sort of feel as if there's going to be more benefit if the team is better than expected, versus there's just more downside if the split is not, it's 50-50 as it seems. If the team is worse than you expect, it feels to me like there's more room for upside, a la like the Sam Montembeau from last year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back to Vegas last year. Aiden Hill got hurt, I believe,
Yeah.
in training camp, was it? Or was it an off-season surgery after they won the cup? So that was sort of a weird situation. I wouldn't necessarily, suggest that that's like the most replicable scenario, because Vegas is also a really, really damn good team. Um, I will happily take Matt Boldy 5 spots after ADP. Thank you, everybody. Um, I personally was hoping to get one of Bedard or Pedersen. Just grabbed Caulfield and hoped that basically I didn't expect the Jack Hughes team to take a center. So it was between Rob and T-Bone. I guess T-Bone also has a Draisaitl. So yeah, I've sort of had it tagged as I would get one of those two centers coming back to me. Obviously, they both went. So whatever. I'm happy to add Boldy, and we'll look to center for probably my next pick.
Oh, I'm on the clock.
Oh yeah.
About to start talking about Aiden Hill. I'm gonna stick to my word. Be a man. Take Matt Barzal. See who comes back to me. Brad does not. That's okay. We'll go over the teams, but yeah, I was gonna say Aiden Hill started 35 and Logan Thompson started 46. I thought Aiden Hill started the year, which was kind of my.
Here's a thought. Can you use Edge to share the draft board so that you can zoom in on it appropriately, and Chrome to draft on? I'm wondering if, because this is really zoomed out. Yeah, I'm thinking of the 13 people watching with us. It's probably a tough follow.
All right, I'm gonna yeah, okay. I don't even. I could probably figure this out. What the?
And by the way, you're not autoing the other one, right?
It's not started, no.
Okay.
I got an eye on it.
Okay, good.
It is 3 away now. It went to 2 and now it's at 3. Okay. Oh no. How do I make it dark? Do you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Obviously it's light. I never used that, so why would it be dark?
Yeah, it's in the top right.
It's not there though, because it's just the board.
When you're on the main part of Edge, does it?
I go back.
Wait, how did you do that?
I just typed in the URL and then logged in and it worked.
I go to open up a new tab and go to the site itself, and then maybe that'll. Yeah, flashbang. It's literally what it felt like. I bet like my face even got more illuminated from that.
Let me know when I'm up. Am I close?
No, we're still at the other turn. I took Markstrom. I needed a goalie. I was really afraid I was going to miss out on Tage. You know, but it is what it is. I'll figure out center from here. But I
Any question?
felt like
Oh,
it was
yeah.
better for me to. It felt like it was better for me to take a center, a little bit deeper down the board than it was for me to take a goalie further down the board. So, um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a few
beautiful.
comments as well, but yeah, I mean
That
the
is,
first one from Mark here. Yeah, the 12 hole right now is a Leon Draisaitl, which again at 12, I mean, sure, go right ahead. Then Kale McCarr. Okay, I mean, would not have been my choice there, but you know what? You're cooking. Andre Vasilevsky, you want to get ahead of the goalie avalanche. Elias Pettersson. Okay, you got to get a winger. Finally gets his winger, Seth Jarvis. What do they do at their next pick? Mika Zibanejad, like 35 picks above ADP. T-Bone, you are cooking, my good man. But yeah, then Corey brings up, getting stuck in that option 2 scenario again. Like you want to avoid it when you can, but I don't think it's the end of the world. And we definitely learned last year it could be a saving grace. Like in the finals when Thompson started every game, that can happen. Which is why I do think I do think one tactic of saying like I'm going to try to take a goalie on a good team is interesting. I just don't know how many options exist for a goalie on a good team that would take over that much of the net given the opportunity that we're kind of discussing. Like, I'm not really sure what exactly exists. Like the guys I'm betting on, honestly, are Dostal, and I'm getting a little more Gibson just as he continues to fall. Mainly just because that is a situation that I can see that happening in where like Gibson is fine and gets traded to a team that needs him because they need him. And while needing him, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, like they needed him for a very specific reason. Um, and that reason was to start him as much as possible because they didn't have anyone else that could start.
yeah, I'm
Uh,
kind of skeptical that like how often do we see goalies get traded mid-season that then become horses? Because you don't just want guys to get starts. Like you need like, 4 starts across 2 weeks. Doesn't really matter if it's just 2 starts per week. Um, so I worry a little bit about that. But I do understand like the appeal of it.
mhm.
I'm just pretty confident that we can find guys, in rounds 14, 15, 16 that really make your team look just as good at a forward or skater position. I mean, especially a defense. That it's just not worth the elite capital to sort of uh, to miss out on goalie. So
Hmm.
that's my current stance. If the goalie market gets too out of hand, where I'm building teams that like I compare to 2v2s, 3v3s afterward, and feel like I'm actively losing, then of course I'll reassess. But
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, everything is a balancing act, and like everyone's allocating resources in the same scarce market in these, and just some people are allocating them incredibly poorly. Some people are doing it. It's all a little bit different. So yeah, my team right now is a 0-4-0-2. I'm gonna just take my Reinhardt Barkov situation and put it together. Nice little, while Barkov might not have the highest upside in the world, which is why he's fallen from very far over the past 2 years from where he was being drafted at like the turn. He does have an excellent, excellent, excellent floor, and I do think maybe a bit more ceiling than meets the eye. So I'm totally fine with that connection when you can get it because like you're betting on Reinhardt being the 21st best player in fantasy or the winger number 8 or 9. That's happening because of Barkov. Like I think that connection is going to continue to stick and for good reason. You're about to be back on the clock, so why don't you run through what you've built so far and where you're gonna go next? I think I could guess.
yeah, at pick 9, I took Forsberg. Back at the turn, I have Roman Yossi. Pretty much the only stance I'm taking Yossi is with Forsberg. Yossi's really, really good, so I don't feel too bad about it. Does leave center a little light. I have Caulfield and Boley at the next little, 3 or 4 turn. I'm going to take Stutzla, that I'm on the clock. But yeah, Caulfield and Boldy, I feel really good about the top 3 wings, of course. And then from there, I've grabbed a goalie at 57. I was looking at Eichel and was going to go between Eichel and Markstrom. Team in front of me took Eichel. I believe that is Joey. Yeah, Titans 20.
Yeah.
Took Eichel, so I was happy to take Markstrom, and then I grabbed Kreider at the other end of that turn, just because I didn't feel it was worth diving down into what goalies, or yeah, into what centers were down low, or goalies for that matter. Let's see. I am up. I will grab Joseph Wall.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to take. Get your second goalie
Yeah.
in there.
Just want to check the schedule.
I'll let you do that while I pull up the next question. This is from Chance McCurdy. Stacking question I've been pondering is stacking 2C. I'm assuming you mean stacking two centers on the same team.
Yikes.
Okay. Or are you living too dangerously with the potential scheduling implications of that? I mean, again, I'm assuming, and Matt, you would agree that he's saying that he's stacking two centers on the same team, right?
Yes. That is what I'm assuming.
Yeah. I haven't really given that much thought. Like, I think there's scenarios where it could make at least a little bit of sense, but I would probably try to avoid it. It just doesn't seem like there's very few scenarios where that's going to work out in your favor, because you're basically saying these guys should not be on the same line at 5-on-5. So you're basically saying they're going to get there together on the power play. That just seems like a tougher window to get through when it probably wouldn't be necessary. Like, if you have, a center that slips 20 past ADP and it just feels like that's worth the move, I don't see a problem with it, I guess, but I wouldn't be bullish on that in any capacity.
Yeah, and of course it's pretty rare that these players will be like super duper correlated with one another. Of course, the power plays, like, Matthews Tavares, like they're gonna be together on the power play. So if Toronto has a top two power play in the league, they're both gonna benefit directly from that. But the weeks in which they both hit like that sort of ceiling that you're sort of drafting for, I think are fewer and farther between, because they're not going to spend much time together at 5-on-5. We don't really have the Barkov Reinhardt of last year where, both guys are centers and they're both going to be, like playing together. I think there's like the one I can think of off the top of my head is Group A Hintz and Wyatt Johnston. If for some reason, Stankoven or someone else doesn't take that top line role with Hintz and Robertson, like that's one where they could be directly correlated, in which case it's probably not the best allocation, just because if you're betting on that duo to do well, you're immediately soaking up a flex spot, and you can't use your second best D if they both smash. Like, but it's such a minor, like it's relatively minor relative to the other pieces of sort of like roster building. So I would avoid it if I could, but it's not like a crazy detrimental to your chances, I would suspect. The scheduling is a good example. I took the New Jersey goalie and the Toronto goalie. Again, you go to our Discord, we have the little playoff schedule that Tart Blueberry created for us. And each of these goalies has 2 games in the final week of the Underdog Finals. That is brutal. That is, so I need to address that pretty aggressively by taking a guy who has 4 starts that final week and just praying that, he's the guy who can fill in the gap, because otherwise I'm going to get absolutely killed if this perfectly constructed team makes it to the finals. So, like, what's the point if you're not sort of trying to plug those holes?
The schedule showing up. Oh, wow,
yeah.
That's incredibly small. Okay. This, in case you were wondering right now, this is the schedule thing that's in Discord. It was also, I believe, pinned in the puck group in the Deposit Kingdom as well.
Yeah.
Goes over how many games each team is playing in the playoffs. Great call.
Yes.
You got sniped on JJ Paterka, so.
Well, while I'm drafting players that have terrible final weeks of the best ball playoffs, let's take Vinny Trocheck. He's 17 spots after ADP. I like the player just fine. I have Chris Kreider. I'm sort of betting on the Rangers power play once again. I'm happy to do that. Just take a little bit of value. I definitely want to address my center position because I only have Stützle, so I don't feel bad about passing on Michkov and Byfield when I already have pretty good wings.
Come on, T-Bone. Don't take a center. You can do it. T-Bone, come on. Take a winger. Oh, he took a center. Darn it. He took John Tavares. 4-3-1-1. A bold strategy, Cotton, but we will see if it pays off here with his next pick. T-Bone back on the clock, providing great content on the Morning Skate podcast. Brought to you by whatever our sponsor is this week that Matt is probably going to either read after this or on his own. He goes John Carlson. So T-Bone with Seth Jarvis, Patrick Kane, and Frank Petrano as his three wingers is hurting at the position. Flop winner absolutely snipes you on Brock Faber, who you are absolutely going to be taking, I'm sure, to go with Matt Boldly.
Rushing. I'm sprinting to the podium to draft Michkov.
He's dropping. I got him at like 121 yesterday. Like I think the projection from the sportsbook is scaring some people off. It's kind of was making me nervous. But a guy worth buying on for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's see. There's more comments. I don't know where we stopped. I actually had him. GA. I had Eric Sinek flagged. I think he went. He went right after my Kreider pick. That was a little bit of a reach in my book. Let's see. We have Meatwad, legendary name. Remember him from previous weeks. Welcome. Yeah, Mark, I don't need you to tell me how terrible that combination is. I already had one reason to hate it. That one's certainly interesting as well. I've not considered the impact of back-to-backs. Of course, that's only going to influence your goalie selections, players that shouldn't matter. But that is another worthy thing. If a guy has 3 starts in a week and it's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, he's probably going to get all 3 starts. If it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, he's probably only getting 2 of those starts. So that could be a useful sort of secondary grid if you wanted to create that. Someone certainly could, or maybe you already have, but just sort of like, number 1 projected goalie starts. That's definitely a better way to think about it than just raw number of games within a week. Skins over birds,
started,
it looks
by
like.
The way, if anyone's in both drafts, the other draft did start. I see some people in both. So
yeah. Yep, that's over in I guess now it's in both the Morning Skate podcast Discord, and it's also in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. Both of those are free to join. In the Deposit Kingdom, you navigate to the Badge Bros and then find a thread called Puck. It's pinned in there. And in the Morning Skate Pod Discord, there's a hashtag dog app channel that has it pinned as well. If you need those links, they will be in the probably the easiest way is to navigate to my Twitter, Fake Moods, and then click on my most recent Beehive, like it's my pinned tweet. You click on there, and it's in my latest article. The links to the Morning Skate Pod Discord is in there. So, that's the best place to go. Obviously, you could just pause the stream, like Malik says, and just access it, screenshot it that way. But yeah, otherwise,
okay.
DJ, you're back on the floor.
Yeah,
have you given up on Nick Ehlers?
No, I mean, I honestly was kind of debating between him and Toffoli, and then I finally just said, you know what? I'm kind of building quite the team of guys that were in from my video. I'm going to continue onward and just hammer like a third guy. Grab Toffoli, grab Bo Horvat. I have a nice team coming together here. So I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I just don't think there's much of a difference between Toffoli and Horvat as far as like what the peak and valley could look like, right? I mean, like the peak is incredibly high on both these guys because 5-on-5 numbers, potentially, access to a top power play. Is obviously there for Toffoli, but like should conceivably be there for Ehlers. But if it's not there, or if Toffoli can't get it done on the worst potentially, and as the books will tell you, the worst team in hockey, like either of them could fail in the same way, but both great rates, both have great finishing ability. So I'm really, I was honestly, you could have, I could have flipped a coin on that one, but I decided to land on Toffoli this time. But yeah, I mean, I'm building a nice little, I have a 2-6-1-2 going with, the Reinhardt, Barkov, the Horvat, Barzal, Mo Sider. I was actually considering like if Larkin slips, going with a little Sider Larkin situation, but that didn't happen. Demko and Georgiev in net for me. So I've kind of fallen into that what we talked about before situation with goaltenders. We'll see who ends up kind of staying out there for me. But not really a plan. It's just like, again, like who's the guy that fell to me? Well, at 52, if Georgiev's still there, like I'm jumping on it. I'm not afraid of last year at all. I still think he's like, I again, like we're going to go back in time 2 years ago. I'm pretty actively think he's not that good, but I definitely believe in this team. More than most, or I think it's one of the better defensive cores in hockey in Colorado with one of the best teams that I don't think got all that much worse, even with Yertushin going potentially out for good. So Georgiev would just have to be slightly better to perform, I think, quite a bit better in this format. So yeah, count me in.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna grab Jake Sanderson to go with Tim Stützle. Why not? Just sort of grabbing value as it falls because I don't really have a strong preference based on my team construction. I think I prefer McAvoy straight up to all the D still on the board, at this 130-ish range. Obviously, McAvoy goes more in the Carlson, Morgan Riley range. I'm not sure. It looks like Carlson went 109 in this draft. But yeah, his ADP is 122. So I do probably prefer McAvoy slightly, but if I have Stützle, I don't have any other Senators. Why not? Just hope that whichever power play it is, because they screwed around with Tim Stützle not even on the top unit at times last year, and obviously Jake Sanderson's not locked into a power play one. But I'm betting on both guys to power play one to start the year, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But just mostly trying to spread out some exposures to defensemen. Taking Jake Sanderson here to go with Roman Yossi already on my roster.
I think I'm getting my first share of Mikhail Sergachev. I just don't quite have him as high as others, and at 141, I'm just going to bite it there.
Yeah.
Consider taking McAvoy to go with Pasternak, but I just feel like that's a dip I don't want to deny. The other draft, I have Austin Matthews at the 2. I finally became a man today and decided to maybe start getting some Austin Matthews. The person in the 101, McDavid, Pettersson, JT Miller. So instead of taking any goalie there, so I get Matthews, Connor, and I'm just going to grab Igor. I'm on the clock. Someone did take Elias Lindholm from me. Keep it secret. I hope you evaporate. That was very mean, and I didn't like it. So that did not help me with my decision here at all. So when in doubt, I think I'm just going to take Seth Jones. I'm very indifferent on him versus Harley. Like, it doesn't matter to me, but I'll run the Bedard drafters today. So yeah, man, Matthews, Connor, Igor. That's a start. Yeah. So I mean, Sergachev jersey and yeah. I mean, I don't mind at all saying that. Like, screw it, I'm not taking. Like again, Sergachev is just going too high, 100%. Oh, Matt, you're muted. Have you been talking?
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering where you went.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. I got a emergency alert, like flash flood thing, and it switched my headphones to the phone because it's making the Amber Alert noise. And I'm not sure if that came through the feed or not because it was pretty loud. Good. That's why I have this fancy mic. So yeah, that must be what caused it to. Yeah, that's what caused it to freak out, I guess. So yeah, I will cap off my goalie room. I do not like taking Charlie Lindgren, really. But once I realized I was in hell with New Jersey and Toronto, I needed a goalie with 4 starts in the Underdog Finals. Like that at least maybe have a chance of getting a 3-start week, which would be nice. And then secondly, I was looking elsewhere, and Washington has 4 games in a week where both the Devils and Leafs have 3, earlier on in the playoffs. So once I realized that pocket of the draft existed to grab the Washington goalie and just hope it breaks my way, that's just what I decided to do. So 2 shutouts for Markstrom in the fantasy playoffs final week would be very nice. But barring that, hopefully I can run good with this team. But in general, I'm more on Logan Thompson, as my last goalie than Lindgren at this point. All right, I have nobody queued up for this next selection. I am done in net. I am done at center. So this makes it pretty simple. Uh, boy, Giroux, Chikrin, Zuccarello. If I really wanted to get
Yeah.
crazy, I'm just gonna go Claude Giroux. They really liked Stützle and Giroux together last year with a new coach. Who knows if that sticks? But if Stützle is not with Brady, he's almost certainly going to be with Giroux, in my estimation. So feels like a decent stack. Giroux's, I have 0% Claude Giroux, but um, I don't think that's the dumbest thing in the world to have like 3% or whatever. Um,
Yeah. Then Arvidsson continues to slip because I guess everyone's a coward, or
because people in this sharp lobby realize that he has no path to viability for fantasy.
what if I disagree on principle?
You may. I'm gonna go shut some windows because it sounds like a hellscape outside right now.
Okay. Good luck with that. All right, I am up in 2 picks. I have a 2-6-3-2, so I need a center, a winger, and a goalie. Goalie has gone pretty south on me, which is exactly the situation we discussed before, where it's like someone I just assume would find a way to me. No one has. There's one person in between me that needs a goalie. I don't really see anything on the board that I feel like I'm gonna be mad I missed out on right now. I think I'm just gonna take Dan Vladar, who continues to rise. Like he's probably the starter for the Flames. I'm just gonna do it here. Just go Demko, Georgiev, Vladar, and not miss out on him. See what comes back to me at wing or at center. That's all I need. Winger and a center, and I like a lot of what's on the board right now, to be honest. But I think I know who I'm going to take if they're there.
Yeah, Joey here has Brady Tkachuk. I took Giroux 1 pick ahead of him. I I did note that I thought Tim Stützle was going to go to Joey when I took Stützle, so I was surprised to see that. And then obviously that comes back to bite you when you let me take Stützle and you want Giroux. Well, I'm going to finish off my little stack there. So, by the way, if you haven't for some reason watched it, we were on the Badge Bros on Wednesday. If you just tune in for our Tuesday streams. So Wednesday was a ton of fun over on the Badge Bros channel on YouTube. Just search Badge Bros. Hopefully you guys know who they are at this point, but they do underdog specific stuff. Was a ton of fun. Look forward to potentially drafting of them again, in a month or so when the camp opens up and NFL starts to sort of, make people more ambitious about drafting hockey who don't normally do so. But we regaled, we told some stories. I had a grand old time, really, over on the Badge Bros.
All right, I'm gonna
All right.
leave my pick for my other draft up to you here in a sec. Oh, you're on the clock. You're on the clock. So the one drafter is still not taking a winger yet. I have Matthews, Connor, Bratt, and Shesterkin. Would you go Keller, Georgiev, or Tippett?
Take Tippett.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I like Georgiev enough to take him there, but I don't know. It feels a little bit wild. Jimmy, not Jimmy. Oh my God. Joey's on the clock over there. Jimmy never. She's not even gonna listen to this.
Yeah, Jimmy's just gonna get mad that I did the @ here on Discord when you don't need to be in the dog app. You can mute that channel, but whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I am queuing up some centers to discuss. And now that we're in the last rounds, we can go over some of our favorite targets. I took one of mine, who I've mentioned like every time, in Tyler Bertuzzi. Like that Seth Jones, Tyler Bertuzzi thing is something I'm a pretty big fan of. So I like it the most with Bedard because that's why it gets there. But like, I'm not gonna, I'm not taking Bedard. I would the 34 is okay. I think that's very reasonable where he went. I wouldn't have taken him with Jack Hughes already, to be honest, but very reasonable spot. And I would have, probably moved them all up the board a touch. So yeah, you took Cam York here. So that one is one that I feel like I've asked you about multiple times, and you keep saying that seems stupid, but I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear you talk
I
about
don't
Cam York.
I do not recall saying anything about the situation. Basically, I have Roman Yossi, and I'm going to need some mega performances from my defenders to really get there. So if Cam York runs with the power play one job, he's a guy who got a ton of peripheral stats last year.
Yeah.
So that's really all I'm shooting for. Like the Nashville and Ottawa, both my two defensemen, have really good fantasy playoff schedules as well. So like I'm pretty much free reign to just take an upside grab at whoever I want. And so I think Drew Doughty was in consideration, but I have so much Adrian Kempe like and Fiala and Byfield elsewhere that like I might as well take them on one of those teams at some point. Um, Sean Dursey, we talked about. I really like that. Like he's the guy I think in this range who I tend to click on. But Dursey and Dunn, two guys who have, I guess, fantasy relevant defenders joining the mix for their teams. Um, I like taking stabs at the entrenched players there, just in hopes that they hold on to their
You're on
power
the
play
clock
one
there.
gig. Yep. No obvious stacking mates to target based on a quick glance. So I will take Anthony Duclair, probably my favorite last round selection. I feel okay about his chances of unseating Kyle Palmieri as the power play one guy, given that he even got some power play one run in Tampa last year when he got traded there. That's not a given, but I do think there's a huge opportunity for him alongside Horvat and Barzell. So with my final pick, I'm happy to take Duclair, who I believe has a chance to be, power play one relevant. Some other names in consideration for me are Jack Quinn, Troy Terry, Juin, and let's see. I don't think there's anyone else down here that I've taken necessarily, but Warren Fogle, Alex Killorn, I think I've taken
Yep.
a time or two. I think both those guys have different profiles, but are relatively even interest to me. I don't think there's anyone else that I'm scrolling by. I'm more waiting for camp news before I really start taking swings on the Jaden Schwartzes and guys like that who are sort of older vets who I'm just not confident that they're going to be locked in power play one guys to start the year.
Yeah, we'll run back through this one real quickly, and then just want to what?
No, that there was Doughty or Ghost. I don't like Gostisbehere at all. I get that he's going to be the quarterback for Carolina, but I don't know. He had a pretty decent role in Detroit, and he put up next to nothing as far as useful fantasy weeks last year, which I was kind of surprised by. But I think he's going to be really pegged into the D'Angelo role in Carolina, where he's going to get like 10 minutes a game. I think it could be really rough for Gostisbehere to just get any sort of 5-on-5 statistics, and their power play just is not going to run through defensemen. I think with Aho Svechnikov.
Okay, I guess we're not gonna. I guess we're not going to see the.
Oh, he was asking for his pick. Okay, I see. Got it.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I'm gonna join the next lobby too. See if we can fill this quickly because I'm down to draft one for sure right now. That one filled pretty quick, waiting on 10. Let's see if we get everyone in. I'm also on the clock with the next pick and the other one. Oh my God, the first winger in for the 101 draft here is Frank Petrano at 73, above ADP. A bold strategy, and again, we will see if it pays off. Okay. So yeah, the other team right now is Matthews, Connor, Brad, Tippett, Tuck, Shesterkin, and Aiden Hill. We'll get back to, okay, we're only waiting on 6. We'll run through our teams quickly and maybe just a couple more. The 104 slot is often it's it can be very rewarding if someone gives you a birthday present, but you don't always get that present. I went with Pasternak, Sam Reinhart, Demko just a little above ADP, but I knew the goalie avalanche was only right around the corner. Wanted to get ahead of it. Matt Barzal, I already went over Georgiev, Kevin Fiala, Barkov. Already mentioned to go with Reinhardt. I like Mo Seider a good bit. I guess tangentially alluded to the reason why he's going even later than I think last year, but maybe should be considered a little bit more. Like excellent rates, excellent everything. Tons of hits, tons of blocks, decent number of shots. Just didn't get enough power play run. I think that could change this year, especially with Wallman and Gostisbehere going. I took Jared McCann. I'm still pretty high on him. Like I get that last year stunk, but I think there was a lot of reasons for that, and I think he could bounce back and be a nice piece. Tyler Toffoli, again, a pick that I kind of what.
I'll like Jared McCann a lot if we get an inclination of Vince Dunn or Brandon Montour as far as like who to stack him with. Kind of feels like a true coin flip right now, so I don't love the idea of like taking, oh, I'm going to take this power play stack and just kind of hope it works out for the year. But once we get a little bit more intel, I do like his price just sort of on its
Yeah.
face. I'm envisioning right now that I'll have more Jared McCann as the season draws near. In part because I think, oh, Shane Wright's going to be, in the top six. Like, all right, let's load up on these Seattle donkeys and we'll watch them
Yep.
play Yanni Gord for 21 minutes a night with a new coach. So I'm excited for that experience.
It just feels like he's the only one that really should not lose and only gain from this whole experience, but he is getting a little bit older, so who's to say? Bo Horvat, I mean, I just think that like if you're taking Matt Barzal where he's going, which I think you definitely can, you're very much saying that Bo Horvat's going to be a value anywhere in the 120s, almost definitely. So I don't mind jumping up a couple picks and grabbing him there. Would he have stayed? Sure. Would he have not? Well, he wasn't getting back to me at 141, so I had to do it. Sergachev, I went over. He was like 30 picks after ADP. He's got great floor stats. So again, it's like, what defenseman do I need to get there? Well, I Seider, Sergachev, and then I take Seth Jones. It's like all of these guys I think have pretty big upside if they hold power play one roles and are on teams that are better than expected. All three of these teams are. Two of these teams are playoff bubble. One of them is long shot in Chicago. Last goalie in, Dan Vladar, kind of the perfect encapsulation of what I want to buy on a team that isn't that great, but maybe could be a little bit better than meets the guy in Calgary. You don't need them to be a playoff team. You just need them to be watchable for him to have a chance at scoring a couple times. And I have Demko and Georgiev to back wall for a lot of starts. Bertuzzi is one of my favorite picks, and then Mason McTavish. He's going to be a guy that maybe I jump on a bit more. He's projecting really well in what Puck Luck has, and I think just maybe it's a guy that like you just don't want to abandon too early. Like this is a really, really young player with a great profile that the entire team's getting better around him. So like, could he lose enough role to where he can't get there? Absolutely. But with your last pick, I'm willing to take a bet on this guy that has great rate stats, has great pedigree profile. And again, like if the entire team gets better around him and they start putting him with better players to contribute more, like that all could also lead to a boom of season, which is sort of what we're seeing in the projections. So I'm going to start kind of buying on him now. Matt, you want to run through your team? We're waiting on you in the lobby, by the way.
Yeah. So I started things off with Forsberg, Yossi, went Caulfield, Boldy, Markstrom, Kreider. No centers, so I grabbed Tim Stützle, who had fallen, I think, about 10 picks past ADP. I take Joseph Woll. As I noted, that left me with two goalies with pretty similar looking games per week come playoff time, which, is not a good situation to be in. It is something I actively try to avoid when I'm drafting, goalies in the first 10 rounds or so. From there, I grabbed Vinny Trocheck, who was a massive faller in this lobby. Correlates with Kreider, why not? Capping off the wing room, I took Michkov, Claude Giroux, Anthony Duclair. For my final center, I had Nick Suzuki in round 11 to go with Cole Caulfield. And then at defense, I cap off the Roman Josi room with Sanderson and Cam York. And at goalie, I took Charlie Lindgren, who, like I noted, I'm not a huge proponent of, but he was the only goalie out there who had 4 starts potentially in week in the final week of the finals when I had 2 starts from each of my goalies. So if everything went well and this team makes it to the finals, I'm probably drawing dead to a usable goalie score from those 2 starts. So why not take a stab at a guy who, if things break right, could get 3 starts that week? I think that matters. So why not take a guy around ADP and Lindgren, who I'm okay with, that fits that criteria. Otherwise, in this room, looks like really only the 10 slot and the 12 have anything super weird in their builds. T-Bone I mean, that team is pretty much indefensible. I think was it 5 centers?
Yeah. Draisaitl, Pedersen, Zibanejad, Tavares, and then Brock Nelson to cap it off.
And your goalies are Vasilevsky, Logan Thompson, and Alex Nedeljkovic.
Where they missed was what was important, and like at winger too, it is a graveyard of very old veterans. I mean, Seth Jarvis, okay, I already mentioned that one. That's not a veteran. Patrick Kane, Frank Vetrano, who again is getting up there and also should have fallen off. Jamie Benn and Kyle Palmieri. I mean, that is like for the 5 wingers they got, that's like 210 years old of total winger age. It's unbelievable. I think my wingers might be younger, and I took 7.
Yeah,
I got the 40, but whatever. That team is rough.
Yeah, and then I think Flop Winners team is certainly better, but taking 4 goalies, including Wolf, Ersson, Mrazek, it's just an odd utilization, and especially to take 4 centers when you have Jack Hughes and Connor Bedard already, you're just leaving your winger room to die, and that's Zegras, Lafreniere is your non-starting wingers with Slavkovsky, Verhaeghe, Kachuk. Heaven forbid Florida have a 2-game week. You're giving up a ton of points to the rest of your pod in the regular season and obviously in the playoffs too. So
I really, and again, like through 6 rounds, I thought that team actually looked like it could have figured it out. Like the Chuck, Hughes, Bedard, Verhaeghe, Olmark, Slavkovsky. I think I had to hammer wing a little bit longer. I get Dougie. But just couldn't go back to Matheson, Faber, Wolf, Ersson, and Mrazek. Like that just had to wait on defense and probably needed to grab one of those goalies, but like not all 3 to have any sort of chance. Like there were wingers on the board that had enough upside that may have come together. Well, I know a couple of these guys are in here too. I'm trying to see if anyone else did anything.
I'm pretty sure literally everybody. Maybe Ape. Well, actually, Keep It Strict is a name I don't recognize.
They ran in some lobbies. But McDavid, I don't know what their last pick is because it stops.
It's Anze Kopitar.
Oh.
So that team is pretty good. I don't have anything.
That doesn't really look
like one of the randos. Actually, you know what? No. Saros, Freddie, Stolarz. That's pretty rough. That feels more like
good. It's a good team, but
that feels more like you realize you're not in the lobby that we're in. Where it's at least 8 people that are watching the stream that are gonna juice up the goalie market. So you probably just don't realize that, and that's how you fall behind in that. You get your 1, and then all of a sudden that the next goalie is 10 ADP slots down the scroll. When you're looking for your next pick, you just kind of lose track of it. So I'm gonna guess that's what happened. T-Bone drafted a Zamboni team. Is that true? Did he super stack a team?
I don't see it.
I don't think so. Yeah.
From Washington, but not a lot. I guess that with the allocations, like the allocations of positions, like the 5-5.
Yeah.
Like that, I guess makes sense, but
I wasn't sure.
We're waiting on one. My other draft, I just took Jake DeBrusk at ADP. I got a 1-5-1-3 going. Goalies just kind of slipped in this one. So I, Shesterkin, Hill, and Gustafsson, all of them at or after ADP. The guy in the 1 hole is drafting an award winner, as I've been mentioning, just getting to winger now, but starting McDavid, Pedersen, JT Miller seems like a mistake to me. I mean, Quinn Hughes, I just, still like, I don't, I get what you're trying to do there a little bit, but they're now at a 3-4-3-1. You don't want to do that. Velarde or Ehlers?
I prefer Velarde.
I think I do too. He's just more cemented on that top power play, and I already have Connor and Morrissey, so I'm going to go all the way in. I have a 1-6-1-3 now. Waiting on 2. Who? Get back in here. What's going on in StreamYard? I haven't looked at a while. Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else you want to go over in this one? Any surprising players that were drafted? I mean, Michael Bunting's one that I feel like I keep. I don't hate Ehlers. I let Matt decide that I hate Ehlers for me. See? I gave myself an out.
But DJ, this year's the year. Nick Ehlers is gonna figure it out. I guess while we're waiting, make sure that you are subscribed to my newsletter.
It's in the YouTube.
Okay, cool. It's in the description. I will be posting something to do with stacking later this week, probably closer to the weekend. It's been a bit slower than I had originally planned as far as actually putting together a strategy for analyzing stacking. But I've already found some interesting things. You might see that as we're drafting, I'm getting more mini stacks than before. I haven't fully fleshed out my thoughts based on the data, but it does seem pretty compelling that you do sort of capture both benefits as far as season long advancement and playoff week, like upside. And there's several reasons for that. I think we've talked about them, from time in some respects from time to time, but I will lay those out more cleanly in the newsletter. And if you've missed the prior 2 versions, I'm calling it the Best Puck Manifesto after the football version by Mike Leonia established the run. And it's covering positional allocation, the wing, center, the goalie, in volume 1, and volume 2 goes over some ADP thoughts about closing line value within draft value, your current ADP, if you will, and some, drafting, I guess, thoughts and strategies to go along with those factors. But basically, just assessing things from a quantitative standpoint and trying to put my perspective on it. That's what those 2 newsletters are trying to do. So make sure you subscribe. You don't miss any of them when I publish them.
Wow. Good self-promotion. Very, very good. Yeah, I was going to show the other lobby until this one starts. Still waiting on 2, I see. Or not lot, but whatever you want to call it. This draft. I need this over here, though, so I can draft while I draft. So, yeah, interesting lobby. I didn't really. I mean, again, the one drafter here, as I'm showing it, just off the freaking rails. Just no winger until Fred Petrano. Never gonna quite get you where you want to be in this world. The 7 went Makar, and then Gensel, Point, Crosby. They're also probably completely dusted. Just the different stuff going on over in the penalty box streets. I don't really see any. Actually, this guy Brandon hasn't taken a goalie yet. He's back on the clock at 136 or 138. Does he take Arison, or does he continue to be a goalieless wanderer? Nah, John Gibson, perfect. Saves himself with a backup goaltender.
That'll fix it.
Oh man, what a time over here in these streets. These are streets, all right. I will tell you, they are. It's fun. It's a fun time. Yeah, I got a 1-6-1-3. I don't particularly love that. I'm gonna take Montour, I guess. I don't have a lot. Morrissey, Montour. Oh my god, it just feels wrong to go with Connor, Velarde, Morrissey, and Scheifele, but like, I gotta take a center someday. I guess I take Brock Nelson. I don't have much. Might not have any Brock Nelson. I just feel like he's old, but he's really not bad.
Yeah, I will say something else that while you're thinking about it, what you're talking about, like Mark Scheifele, sort of correlating with the 3 guys you already have drafted, is that I think part of the penalty that we see on the big stacks, so I'm talking like, you draft a player and 3 of his teammates, is that there's a very clear ADP, erasure when it comes to, like, those players. So imagine I'm looking at Mark Scheifele and analyzing, maybe his ADP for naked Mark Scheifele is, whatever, 140 or what. I'm not sure where he's not gone in this draft. So, yeah, if he goes at 140, maybe when you're stacking him, you actually reach for him at, 133. And so that's like a pretty consistent trend where we see like, you stack him one time, you tend to take him earlier than when you take a player unstacked. So that's going to, I think, impact the results as well. And that you're just basically getting worse value for the same player when you stack them. So if things fall to you naturally, I think that could make sense. But there is some diminishing returns when it comes to that because even for something where it's like a center, 2 wings, and a defenseman, they can all theoretically score, but that does only leave 2 other roster spots to score. So you don't get as rewarded for that as you do maybe penalized when they have a down week as far as scoring or as far as the schedule is concerned. So it makes it more of like an upside game. Like, can you pick the 2 of that group that are going to have the best seasons? Maybe that's more rewarding than taking all 4 and just hoping that 2 have really good seasons. Um, I don't have a full thought on that because there's a lot of outliers in the data that you sort of have to navigate and think through carefully. But I don't think it would have been indefensible for you to take Mark Scheifele there, I guess is my point,
Yeah,
considering he's after ADP, or if he is after ADP, if you're
I
reaching
don't
on
think
him.
I've ever seen someone save a draft so well as Fran, man, getting Gibson and Grubauer. I mean, that is just when
Hey,
we
there
said he
you
couldn't
go.
fix goaltender, he said, "You want to bet?" Um, yeah, it's an interesting lobby. I think people are a little bit more free balling, having a good time. That's always fun. Uh, yeah, there goes Shifley. I just said whatever. No one has any piece of Winnipeg but me. If someone wants to take solo Mark Shifley, they can take him. If not, I'll take him at 168. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
Brock
I do
Nelson's
not think you're.
yeah.
I don't think you're
What?
losing sleep over that decision all that often. So
No. I guess I just forget how good Brock Nelson was last year. And like, again, I just feel like he's getting old and he's
all
maybe
right.
not going to be tethered to the top line. What?
We have
Started?
11 of you people. No, we have 11 of you people in here. We need one more to fill this draft. At least one of you is not in here. So, because it's me, DJ, and 11 others. So just make sure you get in this draft. Help us fill it
You're
so we
just
can
you're
go
just
to bed.
watching and not drafting. Like what's going on? Oh boy,
Yeah,
Ryan O'Reilly at 160. I guess John is back.
yeah. Show yourself. Are you like driving on a highway or something? Because I'll tell you, DJ has been driving on a highway before. It's possible.
No, this is untrue. I have drafted on my way home from the gym, but I've auto picked a lot.
How do I know
And
this? Because you're on the phone with me as well. Also, also
because I'm
something.
telling you what I want to do. Okay, well, stop drafting football. It's a dumb sport. No one cares about it.
Mods, can we
Name
can we ban can we ban kitties? I
mods.
just
Name one person that likes football in the world. Go.
draft
I.
filled. Fuck
Where's that you
you.
going? Cleveland,
DJ
baby.
gets the
Uh,
Matthews McKinnon third pick.
yep. I mean, yeah, I'll pull this up and I'm one pick away right now. I'm gonna make my selection before I do anything crazy. And I also got to get it back the other way again, but I'm on the clock next. And I got to do this. Got a 2623. I mean, I could even auto pick. It doesn't even matter. I'm gonna get who I want. I think I'm too afraid of losing at D, and I just don't trust this loose cannon behind me. Not that they go fourth, so I'm gonna grab Falk. Okay. So now I need to do this. No, I need to do this, this.
Chance takes Matthews at the 2, leaving you to get McKinnon at 3 if you want him.
Oh, like I gotta, but like I just don't understand why I can't. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm on the clock in the other drafts, so just hold your horses. Okay, Tyler Bertuzzi once again. Never gonna believe it. Okay, I'm gonna just get out of that draft. Okay, we're good. We're good.
So, yeah,
Is that good? Is that big enough, or should I make it bigger?
I
Maybe
think
one
that's
more.
good. One more. Well, now you can't see.
Why can't I like pick? Yeah, why can't I pick the size? Like, why is it like this?
I don't know. I thought you could type into Zoom, but
I know it's not letting me. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
okay. I'm
rather surprised that Kachuk is the de facto 6. I straight up prefer Kaprizov and Rantanen over Kachuk. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have like 0 Brady. I don't actually know if I have any at this point in time. By the way, I don't know if I learned this in the Badge Bros Discord that apparently you can only update your exposures once every hour. Like that is a hard coded Underdog thing. I don't know if they were fucking with me or not. It sounds like legit though because of all the trouble we have refreshing our stupid exposures.
Yeah.
But that is maybe the dumbest decision I've ever seen a platform make. Like if that is truly hard coded in. Like it is truly mind-boggling that is the case. But yeah, so I will use my hourly update to my exposures. As I say that, there we go. It worked.
I'm not a Browns enjoyer. The reason I hate football is because of the Browns, probably more than anything else.
Yeah. I have one share
I really
of Brady.
don't. I'll let you talk about your idiotic nonsense of literally picking between the same 3 things in different ways of getting. They're all good. They're all good picks. Who cares? Like, why do you do this?
Because I like to win money.
I just don't understand. I really don't. Like, if you what percentage would you put on Kaprizov or Rantanen or Brady being the highest scorer? So you get all 3 of them.
I don't know.
Down,
I don't have that level of detail. So why would I try to be game theory optimal when I can just be exploitative on what I think the best pick is?
Okay. Yeah. I just don't understand them. Like you're basically, I feel like you're like, we get into this conversation every time and I just think about it differently. I don't know how to describe it.
Like, I will promise you, I will be taking Leon Draisaitl ahead of Brady Tkachuk in some instances. Like, I don't get it with Brady. I really don't. Like,
what is there not to get? Like, what is it? Like
the guy,
he scored 900 points in this format with like 32 goals.
Yeah, that's the problem. He doesn't score that many goals. That's really what I'm trying
you thought
to capture.
Couldn't score goals last year?
Okay, great. How, again, that happens. But why would you make that?
But why? Okay, it's like we're saying there's an ace, a king, and maybe another king or a queen, and you don't know which one's which, but you're gonna just guess on 2 of them every single time, and it's like, okay, but like you could lose. Like, I just don't think it's as big of a margin in any capacity. Like, I don't know.
Okay, DJ, we saw my nutlow takes last year. You know, the Shea Theodore all in, he gets hurt immediately. It's completely useless. I have 40%, 45%, something like that. I have
Yeah.
0% Nate McKinnon. I have 0% Artemi Panarin. I still advance to the playoffs well above the field. I still make 2 teams to the final, and I still have a high placement. Obviously, that's luck, to have the solid results in some respect, but it also shows that there's really not a ton of risk of ruin in this game. So, like, why not exploit the field to be the best that you can be because you already have such an edge. Like it just doesn't make sense to say, I have such an edge over this field. I'm going to do exactly what they do. Like what? I don't get it. So, um, let's see.
I
On
just
my
don't think
other,
that like the first round is where you're finding this big of an edge. Like I could be wrong. I'm down for you to
I
tell me I'm
mean,
wrong.
I mean, I was taking
Like
Nikita
that's my
Kucherov
point.
at pick 6, pick 7, pick 8, pick 9, pick 10
Okay.
last year, and that worked. Like there's, I
How
guess
many guys
there's
have round
ways
one
to
failed?
draft intelligently.
Like, I don't know.
Brady and Stützle, I would argue, were not the best. Like
Yeah.
Brady
Well,
just doesn't offer that week to week like ceiling that these other guys do. So like, is he
I just
really going
don't
to beat
understand
you?
why
And
you wouldn't try to spread that exposure out between the three as much as possible.
I am spreading it
Like,
out between the players I like and Kaprizov and Forsberg and Rantanen. Like I'm not saying, oh, I want 100%, Forsberg, so I'm going to take him over guys. But like, they're just not even in the same tier.
yeah.
And so I'm just expressing surprise that it is solidly 6.0 ADP. Like once Pasta and Kucherov are off
Yeah.
the board, like it is Brady, and I don't see it. So I was just expressing my surprise.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a slave to ADP. I really hadn't thought that much about it with those three. I just sort of I don't
Uh,
know. Just kind of
yeah,
take
I
him
don't,
I'm digging. I don't know.
I don't know if you were seeing what Dooley and Mark here had, but
I agree.
um,
I was reading it. I don't know. It's like I agree with what you're saying, but like I also just I guess I don't see that argument like entirely. It's like so he does things that score points, but he hasn't yet. And again, this is not a 40-year-old player. This is how old is Brady? Like 26, hitting his prime of his career. Like he hasn't done the thing that would take him from the ninth or 10th overall guy up to the the third or fourth. But just
yeah,
like
I I have a more elegant table.
I honestly think it's right in many
Here,
ways to
let
say
me
like it goes Kaprizov, Rantanen, Brady. Um,
let's
but
see.
we're by
That
Friday
is
I will
true.
have the video of the rankings out, and then I will let that make up my mind.
Yeah, okay. I did forget that I have a table handy of player EV, so I can just sort by ADP, and we can look at that quick since you did ask the question. Uh,
Yeah, Robertson was brutal last year. I don't know. And again, it's like who would have said that? You know what I mean? Who would have been like, you know what? It's Robertson that's clearly the guy that's going to kill you. The guy that's 25 years old coming off of the year of a lifetime. It's like, it's just so hard to predict. He was in 1999 birthday. So yeah, that's what, like 24,
yeah, okay.
coming off of 100 and whatever point season. It's just like, or he was 24 going into last year. Now he's 25. I just don't understand again. Like it's so freaking hard to say. It's to me, it's just like, why am I going to try to make this prediction that I simply can't make? I can't do it. Like we can project and we can do this, that, and the other thing, but like at the end of the day, we're never going to say with enough certainty, for me at least, to say that I need to get that exploitative. When again, I think the margin, they're not big enough.
Let's see.
Like if it was bigger, I did it, but it's not big enough, and I just don't see why I'm doing it then.
So if I share,
Yeah.
let me draft before I
Okay.
start sharing, just so I don't completely screw everything up. What's Joda gonna do? Is he gonna take the nope? Okay, cool. So I get Vassy. I feel good about that. So here is a table. I'm not sure if I shared this in the Discord yet, or if I put it in my article at all, but I don't know. It's hard for me to zoom in further. But sorting by ADP, here's the first rounders. Kucherov was sort of the breaking point. Looking at round 2 advancement in this column here, looks like Kachuk, Rantanen, Robertson, Jack Hughes all hurt you. Brady, to a lesser extent, hurt you. 13% advancement versus 16. But obviously, the two need to haves where McKinnon and Kucherov, Matthews and Pasternak both advanced at double the field as well. So pretty much every guy besides those four did hurt you in some sense. When you factor in the playoff equity that guys created, yeah, Brady Tkachuk was fine relative to the guys around him, but was still net negative, 38% worse than, the average pick, I guess, in that regard. So yeah, I mean, I guess technically they're the guys who quote unquote hurt you. I don't have attached to this their actual week by week output. And I don't think I have, yeah, I don't have the ADP. Yeah, I do have their ADP here. So we can look at like the week to week stuff on these guys. I'm not sure how useful it is, but Brady had a week of 47. He had a week of 43.
You're on
46.
on the clock.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Of course, now all the centers get back to me here. Let's go with Jordan Kyrou. Have any thoughts on that guy, DJ?
No. I mean, I am way over already on him, and
yeah.
That's a guy I think you can get exploitative with potentially. But I don't know. It's like
so I don't really know what to do with this sort of like acrostic data, like these crosstabs or whatever. But like it just does not feel to me like Brady Tkachuk belongs in the same tier as really any of these players up here. So I will be drafting that way for until his ADP falls a bit and I can't get the players I like better.
Yeah, I don't really know my ownership on him right now. I haven't really given that much thought. I don't think they're all that much different. Brady. I have 13%, so like right at the average.
The average is 8.
Oh, it's 8. I guess more than the average. I don't have a lot. Oh, this is 2019's too, and I have a lot more than that now. Okay. 11%. 11% Brady. 8% Kaprizov and Miko. 8%. So I guess a little bit lower, but I don't think that's on purpose. Mm-hmm. That might just be might change. It's not that I'm not like willing to change my mind on that either. Like rethink it. I don't think it's worth saying like. I guess it's not worth the risk to me if I'm having 0% Brady or 2 to 3% Brady. I just don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Like if he does have 40 goals, like why is that not in his range of outcomes? Like that's I guess the question.
Yeah, it is, but it's way more in these other guys' ranges of outcomes. Like it's also in the range of outcomes for Tage Thompson. Are you going to take Tage Thompson in the first round?
Well, no, because the position I mean, you should take him earlier if you think that, but Tage Thompson also isn't going to have 350 hits. Like those points still count.
Sam Reinhart scored 57 goals last year. Why not take him at pick 6 then? Like everyone could theoretically do the thing.
Yeah, I agree. I really think honestly that like what you're. I think
we got a bunch of alphas in here. I love it.
I think this. I really think this is why I'm getting so much Brady is because like I'm like all right, I'm picking 8th, and I'm like I don't care, and then it's like all right, well Brady got to me, whatever. Like I don't really think it over any more than that. Like I feel like that's kind of what's been happening to me over time.
Share the board, by the way, when
Oh,
you
you're
get
done, right?
around
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you're done. All right.
yeah, I'm done.
Well, I am up in 4. You're on the clock.
I
You're cooking
am.
a 1-3-0-1. I'm cooking a 1-3-0-1.
Yeah. Hmm.
Take Marchessault, you coward. You filthy
I,
coward.
I will not be taking March. So I'm between Dobson and Tuck. I'm going to take Dobson.
Interesting. There goes to Brinket. The 0-3-0-2, which has Saros and Bobrovsky. I mean, I have Igor, so I'm not panicking yet on goalie, but I've not liked the way goalies have gone here. It's made me a little bit sad. Come on, GA. Take someone that's bad at hockey and let me take someone that's better. It is pretty crazy how tethered ADP this is. Like, Marchessault's the only faller right now. Everyone else would be after ADP. And there goes Hedman. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the I mean that is the golden, the golden ticket where these guys who historically don't shoot like a, Stamkos or Braden Point level of efficiency, uh, shooting a few off of their defenders, butts in front of them, and that just happens. And look at that, you have a monster fantasy season in waiting. Um, yeah, I guess it just feels priced in that like that's already happening because you can't tell me that Brady's better than Pasternak, Kucherov, McKinnon, Matthews, McDavid. So like, yeah, taking him versus those five guys would be silly. It feels like that's sort of priced in with his ADP at 6, and that just doesn't feel like anywhere close to the most likely outcome here.
Yeah. I guess, we'll see. Rankings will come out. Things are going to shift. I think Brady should probably fall back to the 8-9 spot. But again, like with that, I think is mainly because Draisaitl is going to get dragged up by these slappies. Both goalies that I was going to take go. I think I'm just going to wait and allow myself to die of an avalanche. Rest in peace to me.
Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
1-4-0-1. Oh my God. I hate myself. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
I took Dougie to go
Dougie.
with Brat. I was just going to let Marchessault go into my team, but
Yeah,
it just
I
doesn't
am
feel
not getting.
necessary.
I refuse to get buried by this avalanche. So let's just
Get
make
ready.
sure.
Get ready to learn Tristan Jari, my friend.
Oh no, I'm digging out from underneath the avalanche, and I'm just going to get
There
my
goes.
guy.
Oh wow. Oh wow. He loves Los Angeles. Put him in Hollywood.
I do.
The Brady
I do.
Stutzel Gensel Point. I mean, this guy's building a masterclass.
Yeah.
Joda. I believe in
Yep.
Joda. Also, Demko is like my highest drafted player now. I have no idea how that's happening.
Interesting.
Am I wrong, or is it
Yeah.
the children who are wrong?
Yeah. I have like 50% Darcy at this point. Like I'm pretty scared of it, to be honest. But like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
Forsling,
like
Demko, Cousins, Bertuzzi, Kyrou, Barzal. I guess I'll add Ericsson, Busnevich, Carlson, Paterka, which again, Paterka at one point was like 80%. So, well, I guess up to the first draft, he was 100, but
wow, that's deep.
that's
Uh,
deep.
I mean, when you think about it, everyone's 100% drafted on all your teams.
In theory, in my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a normal stream lobby. If it's 100% red badges, it is. Wow. 100. Oh no, Scott. Come on. Draft another 100 teams tonight. Be red. We need you. But the badges are out in full effect. That is certain. Sebastian Aho goes there. That's a guy that I feel like we may forget that guy had 89 points last year. He only scored 701 points in the scoring because just doesn't really do a lot of anything. But like, that's pretty crazy. Like, do you remember him having 89 points last year?
How many?
He had 89. Like 1 under 90.
No.
Like, I don't know why I remember him not having that many points. Like, I feel like I remember him not being that good. And then Jay brought that to my attention. Jay was like, I saw Sebastian Aho's projection. I was shocked. And then I
No.
realized it was like the same as last year. And I was like,
Yeah.
huh?
I think the last couple weeks I've become woke to Sebastian Aho because I have, I think I've taken 3 of him in the last like 5 drafts I've done. I'm not sure what did it. I think it was more just the center field around him.
Yeah.
But speaking of centers, I am going to grab Barkov. I already have Reinhardt.
Yep.
I'm falling behind at wing, but I have some aces in the hole to make up for it. So
I'm up in 2 picks. I know who I will be taking if they are there. And if they are not there, I better get ready to learn bad team. And they're there. Okay. At least I get a goalie I think will start a lot of games.
Yep, I don't hate that. I'm surprised he was still there for me. I really did think about just walking in my goaltender position.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
that,
Darcy would have fallen back to you. Maybe he's rising mainly because you're doing it.
oh,
Um,
I was willing to take the risk that Jari or Darcy was going to fall back to me, but with the Tampa schedule, I felt like Jari
oh
and
yeah.
Tampa have like a decent amount of overlap,
The
and
Rangers are
Darcy
pretty
gives me
bad.
that. Yeah, Darcy gives me 2, 3, 4 start weeks or 4 game weeks where I have none from Vasi. So it's like a nice little correlation within my set, within my lineup, and also obviously to my portfolio and my general stance on Darcy that he's, I think, a top 12 goalie this season, and he goes at goalie, uh,
You
let's
can
see, 20.
search. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
All
yeah,
right.
he is such an interesting guy. You're on the clock. I'll let you talk first.
I am. I really, you know, I'm just going to take Connor Ingram and be done because I honestly
Mhm.
feel pretty good about my next wing pick. Like, if I get 2 of these guys here, I'm happy, but I think I'll be able to get 1 of them at least.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
not.
For the audio listener out there, just to
Oh,
see where we're at right now,
big,
we've been talking.
big stacks. Big
I
stacks
did
going
notice,
crazy
yeah.
out here.
We'll get to big stacks when we need to get to big stacks because he is big stacking. I started with McKinnon, obviously. I was hoping to get a little bit more of that Austin Matthews guy, but alas, I guess I'll be taking him at 2. I went Kyle Connor, Jesper Bratt, Owen Tippett, Alex Tuck. 4 wingers. I feel like I pretty good upside. A lot of good rates, a lot of good point numbers, a lot of good everything. Dougie Hamilton to go with Bratt, and then Morrissey slips 10 best ADP to get to me at 99. So I'll just grab that. I've been very, very, very unlikely to have 2 defensemen before pick 100, but this just kind of seemed like the perfect scenario to buy on a couple of top, potentially at least, but more likely top power play high rates guys to mix in. Goalie Igor Shesterkin and then Jari both after ADP. Igor by 0.1 ADP, but alas, I like him more than just any other goalie. Like again, I'm pretty indifferent. I know you kind of stated like I like him more than Hellebuck and Saros. I think I might, but I think it's again pretty insequential. So I'll probably end up with more Igor than anyone else, but not by much. So yeah, looking at a 1-4-2-2, I'm happy with it. You're about to be back on the clock, but Phil is Big Stacks, who is sitting here with quite the team. Big Stack started with Miko, went Kale McCarr, made sense. Went Stamkos again, 33. I guess what are you going to do? Georgiev just continued to buy on Colorado, and I said that makes sense. Tage Thompson, I won't fault him. Centers were slipping, or she. I don't want to, I have no idea if it's Mrs. or Mr. Big Stacks. Joel Eriksson Ek was definitely not the guy I would have gone with at 64, but GA is here, and GA was getting ready to take him at 69. Nice. Frank Vetrano just seems like they're just not sure who they're taking because that guy shouldn't go that early. And then Trocheck, Tavares, and Morgan Riley for 4 centers, 3 wingers, 2 defensemen, and only 1 goalie. So not great. Matt, you are on the clock next. I believe I know
Yes,
who
I
you're
am.
going to take, and they go. So you go with Patrick Kane instead, which is fine.
Yeah. I'm probably going to be grabbing Kane at these prices. I get that there's a lot more risk than your average player, just because of his injury history and like Larkin, Raymond being so kind of tightly wound there. But I do feel like there's a good home for Kane either with that line or with the Brinket on the second line. So it's tough. Like I think DeBrusque and Toffoli, you could make good arguments for them ahead of Kane, but with the ADP difference, I don't feel as strongly to like not basically try and be even on them. So I take the fallers when they happen. With that situation is my opinion.
Well, I think Jake DeBrusque at 118. Again, another guy that I'm just going to continue to buy on. There's just I already went over a whole plethora of reasons why I'm going to continue to buy on him. And that was in a video on the YouTube channel, which you were really subscribed to. And yeah.
Tockett. So Drance on The Athletic came out with like his off-season notebook or whatever. Basically what I took away from it was sort of strange, but it sounds like Garland and Joshua are being talked about as their third line. So that means not with Pettersson. If that's the case, that certainly guarantees Jake DeBrusque is a top 6 winger alongside either Besser, Miller, or alongside Elias Pettersson. So yeah, that I don't think we needed that confirmation, but the fact that it's not like an obvious feels pretty good. All right, Velarde's here, Gaudreau's here. I am going to I'll take Velarde.
Yeah. I just had to, I don't know. I didn't want to wait any longer at center, really, if I didn't have to. And Nazem Kadri, I think, is a guy that I continuously want to draft and haven't done a lot of. So I grabbed him here as my second center in. Lekanen was a guy I actually was thinking about just kind of finishing off wing as much as possible. But that would have been 6, right? Yeah, it would have been 6. I don't know. Just whatever. Spread the wealth a little bit more. I mean, Nazem Kadri, I do think, has a massive ceiling, especially around a lot of the guys that go in this range. But he is the guy that's going to be any sort of story you tell yourself with the Flames. It's him. So yeah, Gabriel Velarde, another option I could have gone with there. I actually was going to take Ehlers just to rub it in everyone's face. That was actually what I was going to do for the bit, but Scott didn't allow it. So yeah, I'm just sitting here with Morrissey and Kyle Connor, who, I mean, I think if there's a guy that I'm going to be betting on this year, it's going to be Kyle Connor. Like, he's probably going to end up being one of my highest owned players because I like him more than a lot of guys that go at the end of the second round. So I'll end up with a lot of that connection.
Yeah, here's a game we can play. There were 37 centers in last year's Best Puck that got drafted at least 1,000 times. So you could get drafted up to 1175 total. That's how many drafts there were. So there were 37 that were drafted at least 1,000 times. And because Nathan McKinnon was so good, only 10 of them had a positive like expected value based on sort of like the average payouts for like the playoff weeks. So technically Sebastian Aho, Kadri, and Horvat were positive expectation, but below the $10 entry fee. So, technically not plus EV, but let's just call that what's actually being paid out to be the expected value bar. Kadri being one of them was pretty interesting because when you look at ADP, it's basically him, Bo Horvat, Sam Reinhart, Joel Eriksson Ek as like the deep, what do you call it? Deep down the board guys, and obviously Reinhart and Joel Eriksson Ek were like 2 league winners. Kadri didn't feel that way, and it's possible that he was just on enough McKinnon teams or something to sort of get the benefit. Thank you for leaving me Cutter Gauthier at ADP. Not often I have to take him at ADP because I'm taking him ahead of ADP, so that feels good. But yeah, Nazem Kadri, pretty good year last year. His ADP is a bit higher than it was, of course, but like, yeah, that it's still a good player, and I found that pretty interesting. That he was able to overcome.
Go get fucked.
Also on that list, of course, McKinnon, Eriksson Ek, Matthews, Reinhart, JT Miller, John Tavares. Tavares is pretty interesting there. Elias Pettersson, Aho, Kadri, Horvat. And then everyone else was negative in aggregate, which obviously accounts for both their upside and their regular season advancement rate.
I just literally was like, yep, Sharon Govich, 100%. Now I don't even get Shifley. Great. Cool. This is going well. I'm having fun in this draft, actually. I'm not mad. Don't tell anybody I was mad.
Remember, DJ, stacking doesn't matter. So it's like chocolate.
I know. It is. I've never used that expression before, so tell me more. But yeah, I feel like it's more of like I was just like, okay, no one's gonna take Igor here. I get him, he's mine. And my brain melted. Whatever. I'm taking Patrick Laine. Who cares? Everyone else is stupid but me.
Yeah, I'm still not taking any Patrick Laine.
Where is his best case scenario?
Vegas.
Yeah, okay, that's right. What about a Seattle? Is that too like feels bad to be good? Like it might be good just because like the role seems like it's very much there for him, but I don't know. I'm trying to think through this. What about like Colorado? These have no cap.
That's such a that's an absolute pipe dream. Because they can't do that because they need to at least give the impression that Landeskog could return. And if Laine's there's basically no chance. I think they'll get cap relief for Nichushkin. I'm not entirely sure, but that just seems like a pipe dream. Yeah, Minnesota's viable. That feels like a offseason.
The rumor today was Montreal again, and that's one that I feel like it's probably not the best case scenario, but that's where I think it makes the most sense.
No, that would be pretty terrible for Laine bags, in my opinion. I mean, Kirby Doc's good, but you're not taking a second line player who probably isn't even on the power play one.
Maybe though.
No.
Is he the same? No, Caulfield did. You just can't. Same shot and they're the same shot.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance because Suzuki's the strong side flank, and he's not leaving. So
no.
Yeah, no. Utah. That destroys Dylan Gunther. That's the role Gunther had picked up last year. I just think Vegas is so obvious. It's the Marchessault replacement. It's going to require regression from them to make it work. But like if they traded Will Karlsson and Shea Theodore, they could clear up that cap immediately. So I think that's the ideal scenario for Laine drafters. I'm not confident that he plays a full season, even if he stays in Columbus. Like, it just I don't really understand drafting him at this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
the Minnesota rumor.
I believe is what they say.
I did see the Minnesota rumor circling, and that is at least an idea.
It's just so untenable until next offseason.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but I've seen Buffalo, but I just don't think that's anything to that. I think that's just again like you just look at the cap room, the perceived role, and you think that like, well, why not then? But I just don't think the Sabres are going to do it. But
Yeah.
it's it is interesting. It is at least interesting. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. I am back on the clock. I am going to do exactly what I did last time and take Dan Vladar. Whatever. I don't care. Just Sirkin, Jari, Vladar, the winning trio in net that you needed. I don't know who is going to start games in Calgary other than Dan Vladar. And if Wolf is not ready, which they're basically saying that they don't believe him to be, I just whatever.
Yeah, the problem to me with the Vladar situation is not that he won't get the starts now. I feel like we can be pretty confident. It's that when the starts truly matter in the playoffs, it's probably when Dustin Wolf is going to be a full-time NHLer if he's not to start the year. And that's where I think you're really taking a hit where, the like I get it. Again, like you need to take three goalies. It's not like you can just say, okay, I'm only taking two. That's it. If you have to take a third, Vladar's to me a very obvious third goalie. But like I'm just trying like hell to make sure I'm done with goalie before that is necessary.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but we can't always get what we want. And if we try sometimes, we might find
You
that we
just
end up with Dan Vladar. Oh,
yeah.
okay. No. That's right. I know one of the guys I want to take. I just really wanted center to go better than this. And it didn't go better than what it is now, which is bad. Um
Center went okay for me. I got like Brock
Celebrating
Nelson.
with no one. I don't really care. You know
Oh
what?
man.
I'm not
DJ
almost
is
out of time.
falling apart at the seams on this draft, people.
I'm gonna take Duran now. That's the one I really don't want to get away. I don't really care about Celebrini. I want my McKinnon Duran because yeah, I think that's just what they're gonna do. As we just kind of went over why. So yeah, just
Yep.
give me that
Makes
correlation because yeah, Duran spikes enough to score. It's also meaning that McKinnon went absolutely bananas, and that those are the weeks I need to win. Win it all. So I'm fine with taking Lekanen too and saying that like it doesn't work with Duran because Duran stinks. But when I don't have Lekanen with McKinnon, which again is probably less likely to actually like be what they start the year with at least. I'm kind of really trying to get Jonathan Duran. I cannot imagine there will be more than an incredibly small handful, if any, drafts where you get never Branson, but if you ever get McCarr and McKinnon, like that seems one in a million. So,
yeah.
what are you betting on, right? Like, I think you bet on something for McKinnon to do what he did last year in the playoffs, at least for a week or two. So yeah, I don't know. I guess all I'm trying to say is that if I lose Jonathan Duran there, I'm going to actually be mad because I think that is like a path to winning that I want to explore and a correlation that I want to get some of. I feel like I did. I mean, goalie again, like I said, Shesterkin, Jari, Vladar doesn't feel fantastic, but I love Igor. Getting Igor at 27 just feels like you're just clicking that button every time. So I think I could survive. I really don't feel like I'm weak anywhere. I just think that I'm like, ending with line A Drew N just feels like I could have taken 2 zeros there. But where does line A end up if he does get traded to Vegas?
On Eichel's right wing.
I know, but like where in ADP? Like he's going one. I mean, again, we were getting him for free. Now he's 140. He's gonna catapult. Like
my gosh. Yeah, scroll up.
I don't
Like
know. I like yeah.
I
You mean like
like I will take him ahead of Brian Rust.
yeah, for sure. Like
I will
I
take
think
him
he's
ahead of
somewhere in the
Jared
80s.
McCann.
What about Frank
Yep.
Ricardo though?
I will take him ahead of Brandon Hagel. So let's say
I was saying
70.
yeah.
Yeah, it feels like that Besser, Raymond, DeBrincat, Fiala range sounds about
Yep.
right. Slavkovsky, that all seems pretty reasonable. I'm
It
gonna
is,
grab
and
Rasmus
again,
Anderson.
Oh no, yeah, I made the case for him last time, so
Yep.
thanks for listening to me.
Yeah, I had starred Thursey, Anderson, and Vince Dunn as my final round picks in case that matters to anyone. Kyle Palmieri felt obvious in the 15th round. I already have Nelson and Dobson. If Palmieri sticks on the power play one, he's a slam dunk to sort of get there some of the time if these two have good seasons. And I obviously should be set at wing with Kaprizov, Reinhardt, Kyrou sort of eating the bulk of my weeks throughout the year. So taking that correlation made sense rather than a similar player.
I am interested to see who Scott Craig took with his last pick.
I guess
he needed Mrazek. Okay, whatever.
Mark makes a good point. Probably where he went last year. I guess if he went there last year, you should go ahead of that in Vegas alongside Jack Eichel. Like, come on, like that is pretty obvious. So, yeah, if Laine gets traded to a team where he's in a good situation, steam him up the board. I'm rather confident that one of the takeaways from my ADP Best Puck newsletter thing, the Best Puck Manifesto, was that I don't think we steamed up enough the players who wound up being league winners. Either that or we're all just incredibly sharp drafters and we build the best teams alongside getting the league winners, which, is possible. But, there's sort of two worlds that exist and one of them has to be true. And it's possible that like the William Nylander's team didn't go far enough last year. Like that's the major example of a player who started low, rose throughout the process, ended, much higher than he started, but still obliterated that current ADP. So that would be my Patrick Laine stance. I just can't take him right now because I don't know. There's so many players who I do know and I feel very confident in. So I'm just
it
not
is so
taking
funny that like the whole beginning of this draft, we were arguing about like these small micro edges that you were hammering on, and then getting one like this where it's like this guy could be, if we could open the box and he could be, 67 ADP. But right now and you're just like, yeah, I can't take that risk. Like we don't know. And it's like, yeah, we don't know about any of this, but like that's one that we kind of know he's going somewhere. And I think a lot of those situations are
I don't. Have you seen how much money he makes? Like, it's not a free shot at a guy. Like, it's.
I mean, what about Buffalo? Like, let's just say that does happen. Like, is that better? Like, again, like how many situations even work in this situation? Like,
yeah, not many. That's
probably worse,
right? That's why I'm worried. Like, it's not good. Like Winnipeg is a legitimately good landing spot for him.
I'll take Kyle Palmieri. I guess you were pretty much done at winger anyways. But yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to take a gamble on that for my sixth winger in, who could potentially be a guy that I think is, closer to the 67th overall player in the right picture. Like, I don't know. Like that seems like an obvious bet to make when comparatively to saying like, I'm going, 100% Rantanen over Brady Tkachuk. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know. It just seems inconsequential comparatively, where like you're getting such a bigger swing. But yeah, no, I did. I put her in the $3 draft too.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but like I don't know. When you look at the NFL stuff and like Mike Leone with the live players, like in the in the playoffs, what is a player worth? Like even though you think that like your round 17 player in NFL doesn't matter, for some reason having 17 of 18 players active and projected for a playoff week makes your team so much more likely to have like these top end outcomes. And of course, not all 17 players will score, but like there is such a dramatic effect. I don't know what that is for hockey, of course. Maybe it's radically different and it doesn't matter. But like just the guy who could be projected for a literal zero for large chunks of the season, even if he does get moved, like just given what we know right now, just feels really, really bad. But I don't know. I guess I also sleep soundly because I'm confident that he won't be steamed up enough if he goes to a spot where I feel like I can't miss out. So I feel like I'm winning on both ends without taking that risk regardless, even though I won't win as much as, you win or other Line A drafters win, because I know there are people beyond you who are more adamant about taking him. Like, yeah, they'll win more, but I feel like you'll also lose a lot more. And so that's just sort of the calculus that I'm doing.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Do you
just
want to wrap
again,
it up
you're
here?
basically saying that yeah. I just I guess the last point on that is like you're saying that he's either a zero or a boom, and it's like there is still a middle ground there, and that middle ground could be higher than you're giving it credit for, just because like I don't know, like, he could still find his way onto a top power play. He could still find his way, if any, like one injury away from being in a more premium role. I don't know. It just seems to me like a weird bet to make, but whatever. I'll run through my team really quickly. I don't really have a lot else to add. I think I did a pretty good job summarizing it as I went. McKinnon, Kyle Connor, Igor, Jesper Bratt, Owen Tippett, Alex Tuck, Dougie Hamilton, Tristan Jarry, Josh Morrissey, Jake DeBrusk, Nassim Kadri. One I guess I didn't mention maybe was Jake Sanderson. Just I like him at 142. I think he's power play one. I'm just not that worried about Shabbat anymore. Like he's seemingly, I think, taking over an all rates kind of guy that definitely was shooting a bit more in different windows of the season. And I'm just hoping that continues. We went over line A and nauseating amounts. Dan Vladar, again, I took him in 2 of 3 drafts, GA, not 100%. I didn't take him in the $3. Don't put that on me. And then Jonathan Drouin, and I took Josh Norris. I was really debating between Cousins and Norris, and honestly McTavish, but Cousins is like my highest drafted player right now. And I took Jake Sanderson, so I thought, why not buy on a guy like Josh Norris, who like had the chance to hit a peak that I think is much higher than everyone else. And I already have, McKinnon and Kadri, who I think are really, really, really good. So yeah, I like my team, Matt. What
Yeah,
you got?
at center, I took Bedard in the third round. I have him with Barkov and Nelson. All three of these players I do have nicely stacked. I have the Reinhardt Barkov alpha stack, of course. Bedard, I took Seth Jones later in the draft, and Brock Nelson, I have both Noah Dobson and Kyle Palmieri. Elsewhere at wing, I have Kaprizov, Reinhardt again, Kyrou, Patrick Kane, Gabe Velarde, Cutter Gauthier, and Palmieri. At D, I have Dobson, Seth Jones, Rasmus Anderson. And in net, I have Vasilevsky, Darcy Kemper, which was a major reach, and Connor Ingram. So this team feels very similar to the teams that I'm trying to draft. It doesn't feel like I got that I got cheaped out or boxed out at the goalie position or the wing position. Um, it's a bit later on goal or on wings than I normally go, but like it's well within the range that I'm comfortable with. So I feel much better about that second team than I do the first team that I drafted on this stream. So,
Yeah.
DJ,
Yeah.
uh, let's close things out here. Make sure
Well,
that you are following us on Twitter. I'm at Fake Moods. DJ's at DJ Mitchell 94. Camp starts in about a month. We'll be getting a lot more information once camp begins. So be sure to follow us on Twitter or pop in the Discord regularly for the latest when that starts. Yes, GA is talking to us about NFL training camp. These are the sort of things, not necessarily to this level of drama, that do happen in NHL training camps that I do think are useful. This would be, where you would get signaled on to guys like Logan Thompson last year. Like that was something that literally was like a training camp thing that we sort of were able to parse apart. I want to say I was big into Logan Thompson. Maybe that was 2 years ago though. But obviously, I think he, I think he got hurt or something and didn't have a good regular season. Anyway, um, otherwise, the Discord is in my newsletter, which is my pinned tweet. So make sure you're following all of that stuff, and make sure you subscribe and leave a like on this YouTube video. DJ has a video up that he posted 2 weeks ago, well, a week and a half ago now. So make sure you find that. That's a more produced video versus the live streams like this. We'll be back every Tuesday from here on out until the season starts doing best puck drafts. One last thing, Badge Bros. If you did not watch us there last week, go check it out. It was a ton of fun. You'll learn something, and I think you'll have more fun than you do watching DJ and I just bicker for 2 hours here.
that's good bickering. Yeah, and then I would say with 90% certainty have my next video out Friday. I was at a wedding all weekend. My cousin got married. It was really, really fun. And it will be a rankings video. that we'll go over the rankings, and I'll pull out a bunch that I think are interesting at each position. And yeah, Ayuk to the Browns. Very cool. Not done yet, but if he's not going to the Patriots, I'm saying he's going to the Browns, and the Browns will still be.
I wish.
What is it? 8-9. Cool.
I wish you luck. Yeah, make sure you're
Remember when
getting
they got
over
Odell
on
Beckham
the.
Jr.?
I do. That was crazy. Who'd they trade? Jabril
It worked.
Peppers.
Yeah,
They had the trade of
Hurts or
safety
something.
was
I
really
don't know.
good.
They traded. It
Anyway,
was Jabril Peppers. He never really ended up being like he was a first round pick guy, but
yeah. Make sure you are getting over on the Underdog streets. Promo code MSP if you haven't signed up yet for some reason. Like I don't know why, but now's the perfect time to do so. There's a $3 contest where you can on ramp yourself. And of course, there's the 25K to first Best Puck Classic that we were drafting in. So thank you to everyone who showed up tonight. We'll be back again next week. From Doug, from DJ, from myself. Have a good August, everybody, and we will see you.